City of Apache Junction Council meeting to order. The invocation will be led by Vice Mayor Rizzi. The pledge will be done by
Somebody.
Councilman Gremmel.
Councilman.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the privilege of being gathered here today to do the city's business on behalf of our constituents. We ask that each of us be guided by you in the decisions we make that will affect others and not by any personal agenda or ego. We ask to be humble in our disagreements and that we never forget we are here to serve the people of this beautiful community. Lord, we have a special prayer for the citizens of Ukraine, for their safety and their protection. Father, we ask for your protection for all of our first responders, those serving in our military, and all of their family members. We ask that they be brought home safely each and every day. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Mayor Wilson,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Present.
Councilmember Evans,
Here.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Here.
Councilmember Nesser,
Present.
Councilmember Schroeder.
Here.
You have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. As a reminder, all items under the consent agenda will be approved with one motion. If a council member wishes to remove an item for further discussion, the request will be made prior to approving the consent agenda, and will be moved to new business. Do I have a motion for a consent agenda?
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Schroeder,
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser,
Yes.
Councilmember Evans,
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi,
Yes.
Mayor Wilson.
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you. Awards and presentations and proclamation. Chief Pulley, would you like to start?
Mayor and Council, City Manager, thanks for letting me be here tonight for this special occasion. I want to invite Carlina up here. Come on up, Carlina. I know many of you have gotten to work and see Carlina. I have the privilege tonight to be able to recognize her for 35 years of service to the city of Apache Junction. Wow. All of that here with the Apache Junction Police Department. So I've been here just a short time, almost 2 months. And in those 2 months, you get to see who the movers and shakers are in the department. You get to see those who dedicate their time, their talents, and everything to the department. And in 2 months, I can tell you, Carlina is the one that I know makes the department run. A lot of times our officers that are out on the street get the recognition. They get seen by the public, they get thank yous, they get lunches and dinners and coffee and things bought for them. We got the real heroes that make our department spin, that keep our officers safe with the background. And I can tell you, in those 35 years, I was just a little guy. And Carlina has seen chiefs come in.
Yep.
She has seen officers come in, start their career, and finish their career. And a lot of them have had successful careers because of you, Carlina. I know your family has seen you dedicate hours. Your lovely daughters, your friends here, recognize all of them. But I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity to recognize Carlina. And we have this plaque. It says, Carlina Lawson, with deep appreciation and thanks for your 35 years of service to the city of Apache Junction from 1987 to 2022. Carlina, we love you, we appreciate you, and we want to say congratulations on this milestone.
Yeah.
And I know City Manager wants to say a few words as well.
Stay up here, you guys. Yes, this is a very special night. 35 years. So before we do anything, you need to see who's out in the lobby. That, to me, means so much. And they're hiding out still. They're still they're humble officers. But they came to see this. They came to see Carlina and see this great evening.
Come in.
Carlina has also trained many city managers and seen many of us come and go over the years. And are they coming in? Come on in, you guys.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, please come in. Come in. Keep coming. The chief is exactly right. Carlina's a backbone. Make sure everything that is needed for time cards, to making sure we carry out safe procedures, training, those types of measures. Carlina, on behalf of the city manager's office, he says, I want to just say thank you. You've been a friend of mine through the years. We appreciate all the support in our office and in the city to our community for 35 years of service. Thank you. And before we give her another hand, we have here a certificate, but more importantly, we have 40 hours of paid time off as part of our program for years of service, well deserved. Yeah. And also as part of the program, a monetary thank you. It's the least we can do, and thank you so much.
Yeah, where's Al?
She probably want to get,
I was on vacation
Bryant. What's that? She probably want to get a picture with all her comrades there.
With the cohorts.
Come on down here, guys.
Hey, Joe. Joe.
Hover around her.
Make them good photos.
Now you can hide us.
No, we're trying to get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, right here. Put your heads back up here. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Just in case they got a white.
Get a couple.
Smile pretty.
Get a couple. Did you get a couple?
Oh, right in the eyeballs.
Now you know how we feel when you got the lights on us. I don't think so.
No, she's not dispatched.
You?
Yeah.
You?
No,
Yes. Good to see you.
She's upstairs.
she's upstairs.
Yeah, okay, I know where she
And
is now.
Yeah.
right there in the, when you come up the stairs. And she handles all of the, she does everything about the payroll
Right.
and keeping all the records. She keeps all the records on everything for the whole PD.
That's amazing.
And that's what they say, you know, for keeping everything in line, you know,
That's amazing.
everything about the budget, you know, all of that stuff. She's done
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Appreciate it.
When they
Thank
look
you.
at her, that's a job, you know. If she just takes it all and stuff, I think she orders everything, any kind of supplies that the police officers need, anything like that.
Okay. Regional intergovernment meetings, updates from the council.
One other item, Mayor, that we
Oh,
have
sorry.
is under the manager report. Thank you, Carlina and family. It's great to see you. Tonight we have here with us Jim Groen, who is from Republic Services and has some of the staff here for their quarterly update. We'd like to turn the time over to Jim.
Evening, Mayor, members of council. We've got a few faces here, not just Stephen tonight. I do want to start by saying really congratulations and thank you to Carlina. That's pretty amazing, 35 years. But the reason we're here tonight is actually to introduce a couple new faces. As a lot of you have gotten to know over the years, I'm the general manager for Public Services in kind of the East Valley, supporting the Apache Junction landfill, our hauling company in Mesa, another landfill in Florence, and a couple of transfer stations as well. And wanted to come in. I met with Bryant and Jenny recently and Matt and let them know that I'm moving into a new role with Republic Services in the San Diego market. So we wanted to come here to council to introduce to you my replacement. There is no real gap in service here. We kind of had this succession plan lined up and ready to go. So I will introduce to you Adina Gilden, who will be the new general manager. Again, that scope of responsibility is over the AJ landfill and 5 of our other locations in the East Valley. To close, I really just want to say thank you to you and to your terrific staff for your partnership over these last few years. I told Brian I'm incredibly proud that to be able to be the first single hauler in the city of Apache Junction. I know that's been something that's been approached a few different times, and I know we've had our growing pains and gone through some of the toughest staffing situations and seasons I've ever seen in this industry. But proud to say we feel like we're through the woods on that one, and hopefully you would agree when it comes to service. So thank you, and I'll let Adina introduce herself.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's going to San Diego.
Yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon. Nice to meet you all. My name is Adina, obviously, as Jim said. I've been working under Jim for the last 6 months, so in terms of, gap in service, not too much, but really excited to take this role on, and have heard a lot of great things, been involved in it kind of over the last 6 months, but just continue the partnership, right? It's so strong between Republic Services and the city of Apache Junction, and really looking forward to kind of continuing that. A little bit of my background. Prior to Republic Services, I spent about 12 years in the hospitality industry. So customer service focused is my heartbeat. I get it, I love it. And then I spent the last 4 years with Republic Services. So spent some time up at corporate doing some capital planning stuff, spent time in our North Phoenix yard, and the last 6 months I've been with Jim kind of training to be here tonight. So the other face I want to introduce to you is Will Hathaway, who is waving over there. So Will's our new hauling operations manager. So he really owns the trucks that run day in and day out through the streets of Apache Junction, and can kind of be your contact as we work through the program together. And then I'll transition to Stephen.
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My update's a little bit more traditional. I just wanted to keep you looped in on the amount of bulk pickups, as well as update on free dump week that happened in February. So for bulk, we saw 194 people utilize the service in January, and 168 utilized that service in February. That's an average of 49 per week or 42 per week. So it's still a well-utilized service. And then free dump week, and this is kind of one of the things that we've been monitoring to see if increase in bulk has any correlation to free dump week, maybe decreasing or increasing, and the answer has been no. And that stays true for this quarter. Over 573 residents utilized the free dump week in February. So we're proud to continue to offer that service, and we look forward to keeping you looped in on these quarterly updates. That's all we have today. Any questions?
Love that bulk pickup. I use it every month. Love it. Thank you.
On behalf of the CDC, I'd just like to thank Republic Service, period, for all of the help and support you give us on cleaning up our properties. So thank you.
Thank you.
And I would like to know the 2 new members of, we can share their contact information with the mayor and council?
Absolutely. You want me to do it right now?
No.
No, definitely.
We got that.
All right.
We'll get that out. I'll get that out.
Yeah, I just want
Have
to
a deal
tell
if I don't have
Stephen,
wheels,
thanks
but you
for all the time you jump onto Facebook whenever I contact you and say, here's another one, tagging me all the time to little problems here and there.
Yeah, sure thing. Happy to
Yeah.
help. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
I apologize. I stepped out of order.
Oh, okay.
I know, you've only been doing it for 20 years, Brian.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so now we'll go to the regional intergovernmental meetings and updates from the council.
I've
ahead.
got something, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
So over the past few months, I've talked about the transportation plan and the $80 million in escrow. Well, as of, no easy way to say this, but as of the 8th, on a 4-3 vote, the court struck it down, in part. The court did hold that the Pinell County had complied with state law adopting the transportation excise tax. The Board of Supervisors and the part of Board of Directors acted lawfully and concerning the resolution. The court, however, held that the tax itself was unlawful because the legislator did not delegate authority to the Pinell County Board of Supervisors to adopt a two-tiered tax, which is what this was. As a result, part of it was left with the approved transportation, that was the part that was approved, but the two-tiered was not. So the $80 million is still kind of stuck in limbo, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to access that. So what they're looking into now is an option to submitting to the voters an excise tax identical to the one of Proposition 417, but without the tiered tax for retail exemption. It was that exemption that made it unlawful. So we want to bring it out to the public, see how, get some reaction over that, and hopefully we can get this taken care of so we can access this $80 million that's been kind of dangling on a string in front of us for the past couple years. And that's all I've got.
Anyone else over here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I had a meeting with the Phoenix Mesa Gateway Airport, and they are doing some record numbers of passengers in and out, and they're looking at expansion of, well, the fuel capability of it as well, and a few other parking locations to include an increased area for the firefighting aircraft by the Forest Service. So there's more expansion going in out there, and they are growing at a huge rate. Okay, now we want to continue on with the manager's report. And
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll again apologize. We got a chance to hear from Republic, and super thanks to their team. I did want to add the term PRTA, Pinal Regional Transportation Authority, is so important to us. And Councilmember Schroeder represents us on that board and does such a great job of reporting back. That process and working with the private sector and the business community has been something probably talked about for 10 years. And the tax was going to be a huge influx of revenue over a 30-year period to provide what I call the ability for a 101, the 202, the 303. This is what Maricopa County had funded their transportation system. What I look at as a 50-year or almost citizen of Arizona, family in Tucson and Pima County, what they've done versus Maricopa County and how they've brought in these infrastructure investments in freeways to bring in more jobs. This, unfortunately, is a step backwards in trying to figure out how to do that, because for us it was equivalent of a north-south freeway from AJ to Coolidge, which would have then been an area that you've identified as your employment corridor. So with that, I'm going to transition into the Blues and Brews. This last weekend, a huge successful event on Flatiron Park. Here are some of the pictures from the event. This is the second year, but we've had a year off.
Yeah.
Tremendous support for those who came and for those who did it. This is an event that's on our park, but because it's private, it's our park that's not on BLM land, we're able to have these type of events here. And I know a vision that you've all had over time is to be able to do that in a bigger area up at the rodeo grounds. And then the other item for current events, Mayor, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about the Pinal County Junior Livestock.
yes, the Pinell County Fair, is starting this Wednesday. And one of the things that we have is there's a local 4-H group called the County Kickers 4-H Club, and they have been raising some animals that are going to be auctioned off on Saturday, and from 10 a.m. to noon. And it is an opportunity to look at some of the kids that are local in our community. And I got a series of pictures here of kids with their calves and sheep, as well. And it's an opportunity to, oh, okay. There's an opportunity to, basically, in a sense, see what some of our kids are doing through the FFA and the 4-H on raising of animals and in supporting them. So I encourage anyone to go down there and look at them, and especially pay attention to the 4-H kickers and the FFA groups that are from our area, and compliment them as well. I myself cannot buy any of them, because the minute I bring them home, they're going to be condemned to life on our property for the rest of their lives, per orders from headquarters here. So anyway, it is something that it's neat, and it's great to see and encourage them.
Thank you, Your Honor. That concludes my report tonight.
All right, thank you. Oops, got to uncover. There will be no public hearings for this evening, no old business, new business. Discussion on process for filing city council vacancies. Bryant.
This one will have Joel kick off. It's a very legal discussion.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, member of City Council, Mr. Mayor. So, the item is very, it's technical. It's unique. How does a council fill a vacancy? Can it? The answer is not only can it, but you shall, under the statute that the legislature put in place. The old rule was you fill a vacancy for the remainder of the term of whoever, whose ever term was vacant. Well, under ARS 9-235, I'll read it to you, and you tell me if this is confusing or not. The council shall fill a vacancy that may occur by appointment until the next regularly scheduled council election if the vacancy occurs more than 30 days before the nomination petition deadline. Otherwise, the appointment is for the unexpired term. This subsection does not apply to a charter city. Well, that's the easy part, the charter city. We're not a charter city, so what does that mean? And there is some case law on this, but it's not very well-defined case law. The way I interpret it, and I have checked with some excellent, bulletproof outside counsel on this, and I feel this is excellent legal advice. Basically, it's because in the situation that we do have a vacancy now, Mr. Biggs. So, regarding, well, we'll do that one second. There's another vacancy. If there's another vacancy between essentially on or after March 5th, the term would be for the unexpired rest of the time that person had. So that's the easy one. And remember, that's the old rule too, except there was no dates involved. So now, on this, the other one, on Mr. Biggs, if there is a vacancy on or before March 4th, council must appoint until someone wins in the next regularly scheduled election. So that is going to be fascinating on how it works. Now, there's nothing in the statutes that says what the parameters are for you to choose somebody, except they have to meet ARS 9-232, and that's just like any other candidate has to meet.
City limit.
So that means they have to be over 18 and over, I'm sorry. They have to be a city qualified elector, meaning registered to vote. They have to be a city resident preceding a year before the election. City resident. So, also, there's another section under Title 38, and that deals with vacancies and how a court can declare a vacancy. So there's certain items under that too that would be applicable. There's some obvious ones. A person can't be dead. They can't be insane. That one's questionable though, but
Can't be a goldfish.
they also cannot have a felony. And so those are some parameters. So what has been done in the past? I've been here almost 25 years. Carlina's got me beat by 10 years. Virginia McLean, I believe that was in 1998, right after I started. She quit at the dais. And so they replaced her, and I can't remember who got it. I don't recall. I think it was Dave Waldron, but I don't recall now. And then there was a Joe Severs. Mr. Severs quit on the dais also. That was replaced, and I think that was in 06 or 07. It was definitely before the 09 election, though. And then Mr. Smithson. Mr. Smithson, I think, ran in the Mr. Eck recall. I know this is drumming up some old history. And I believe Mr. Fisher challenged him. Mr. Fisher did not win. Mr. Smithson won. And then I think Mr. Smithson decided to go to the County Board of Supervisors. And so there was also a selection there. So that one may have been done after this new law got changed. It was in 2011. However, I think he was so far into the term that Kathy felt that it didn't have to be done for the next person at the election. So that's some of the history. There may have been one or two others, but those are the ones that I recall. So what's been done is there's a talent bank application for boards and commissions. That is an absolute great model. Staff would have to, I think, amend it so that it says board, it doesn't say board and commission, it says council. And so essentially it's something that's online, and any applicant could get online. I'm sure staff could help them a little bit, because sometimes it's a little challenging for some people. And I think tonight we're just talking about this item. You're not making any decisions. There's no vote tonight. And I have a schedule that I'll lay out for you that we propose. And I've talked to Matt, I've talked to Bryant and also to Jennifer about this schedule so that you meet the statutory requirement. It doesn't say when you're supposed to do it, but at one point you need to do it. And I would recommend you do promptly do it. So the schedule. So today is the Ides of March. Does everybody know what that is? Come on, really? I had a staff meeting with Bryant. He didn't even know what that was. Come on, et brute. Does everybody know what that means?
He was stabbed 26 times, 23
Yes,
times.
by his senators.
Yes.
Okay, so tonight's just the discussion. So
Good thing that's not a requirement because we all failed that test.
Oh, no, that one, no. So on April 5th, you could have the direction to staff where you tell the city manager, okay, here's how we want to do it. And we want to lay it out so that there's at least 3 weeks of time so that applicants have time, and so that you get a nice pool of applicants. We would suggest to go through possibly from the 11th of April through the 30th. And then how you published it in the paper or the internet, however you want to do it, that would also be described for the city manager so he knows exactly how you want it to get out. And then because of the time, and I don't know if you'd all want hard copies. At one point you might, instead of trying to negotiate one of these things with, I don't know how many applicants are going to be. So you might want to do that so there's some staff time for preparing that. We suggest you come back on 5/16 for the interviews. That's a Monday night. And then on the 17th, come back for a vote. And if you don't think one night is enough because you need to think about it, come back 2 weeks later on June 7th. And so there's going to be there's at least one vacancy now. So, and Bryant, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
It's a question, Joel. Does this meet the intent of the statute that we move Because your first statement was we shall fill these spots in a 3-month period.
I think this is a very fast and very prompt, so yes, if you did it that quickly, or even if it went into July, I think there'd be some argument that, the election, that's a little too long, but maybe not. But I don't want to be in court to fight that one, so I suggest you get it done before July 1st.
And then, Your Honor, a question for me as we prepare at the staff level. We would typically use the board, we have a module set up, but we could definitely work with our residents on the boards and commissions, make it a simple application process that works for you. And then is 3 weeks enough? Does that sound about, if we were to come, so we're still just discussing, so no decisions, but think about that. The idea would be, it would give us 3 or 4 days once we got final direction from you on the 5th, so we'd have the 6th, 7th, and 8th to get ready for April 11th. And then the 11th week, the 18th week, and the week of the 25th. And then we could get the package ready for the 16th. Jennifer, does a couple weeks work for you and staff to get that ready for?
I'll be very short on staff, I will tell you that.
Yeah, so we have Beth and Anna who perform miracles. So we would help you out.
And we have helped applicants fill out the online application for boards and commissions, so
Yeah.
staff knows how to help with that as well, so does Beth. So we can help out that aspect.
Yeah, so we would be completing on April 30th, then by May 16th being ready for you to interview. And then depending on if you wanted to select the person or people on the 17th, the next day you've done different things. You've either gone one night back to back, and then you've also waited. So that would be something we would want to know your take on April 5th.
Your Honor, I have a question. Joel, would this be, so this appointment, would this not fulfill Mr. Biggs' term? It would take the candidate to December 31st. Is that correct, or no?
No, the statute, the way it reads, is for that one, because it happened, it was before the 30 days from April 4th.
Okay, so this appointment would take this person to what date?
It would take him to, there would be no date on the motion. It'd be until someone is elected at the next regularly scheduled election, which could be in August. And if there's a general, it could be November. And if that doesn't happen, then it could be August of 2024. That's how the statute reads, and that's how they wrote it. And I'm sure they didn't intend to do this, but hopefully when Mr. Biggs gets in there, he fixes the statute.
Well, we'll task him with that. What's interesting is two of us up here have gone through that process, that interview process for council with those, during those appointments. So few of us have been through that, but I think we've all been through the appointment process for the boards, and it's really not that much different with interviewing candidates and finding out their interest and, where they've served the community. It shouldn't be that difficult.
And this is just a term, your question was the term, and that's, so this vacancy for Mr. Biggs would not be the full term as if he was still here. So, and if there is another vacancy, that one would be, because it's already past the deadline, actually.
Thank you.
Okay, I
Your
got,
Honor,
okay, go ahead.
Bryant, did you give us the option saying for interviews, one night and then wait 2 weeks? Or what did you say there?
That's what I'm trying to get at on
Yeah.
April 5th. If you would, lately, the last few years, the city council has been doing back-to-back.
Right.
And if that's your preference, just put it in the motion on April 5th is what would be my recommendation, if that's where you're leaning. That way you can interview on May 16th, appoint, make sure I get this right, Jennifer, appoint on the 17th, and then swearing in comes after that, and they could be at the next regularly scheduled voting meeting on June 6th and 7th?
We could probably draft language that says appoint and possible.
Oh, okay,
Yep, same night.
that
Yeah.
night, and then have them come up?
Yes,
Okay,
Swear them in the same night?
swear them in the same night.
Okay.
okay. That'd be great.
Well, you got a question? Go ahead.
We both do.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so Joel, just to lay it out there for anybody watching in TV land or anybody in the audience who may be potential candidate. So with Braden Biggs' seat, we go through this process, we appoint. That appointment is until the primary in August. And at that point, anybody who wants to try to jump in and get that seat that we appointed can enter the election as a write-in. So far, correct?
Not quite, sorry. The motion will say, until a person is elected at the next regularly scheduled election, or until someone's elected at the next regularly scheduled election. So there will be no deadline. We won't say until April,
Okay,
until,
so-
yeah, but that's the only thing. Everything else was correct.
Right, and so let's say, in August, nobody meets the criteria in the write-in category for the seat that is being appointed for Mr. Biggs, and the mayoral and the council election gets decided in the primary. Does that mean at that point now that the person that we appointed is now serving out the remainder of the term?
It would go to the next regularly scheduled election, and that could be a general, or it could be in 2024,
So,
August.
Well, what I'm saying is though, if the mayor or the council election does not go to the general, then at that point, does that appointee serve out the remainder of the term, or does that particular seat move by itself to the general?
If there's no disposition because of a write-in or even someone who was on the ballot but they didn't get sufficient signatures or sufficient votes, then the answer is they would continue in the process as an appointee until the next regularly scheduled election.
Which is in November, and then,
Well, not necessarily. If you're saying the mayoral and the three council seats did not trigger a general, then there will be no general.
right, for us, for the city. So therefore,
Correct.
that appointee,
So then it
in
goes,
theory, goes to the end of the term,
no, it would go to the next regularly scheduled election,
which would be
which would be
the end of the
August
term.
of
Which
2024.
would be the end of the term that
No.
we're filling the seat for.
No, the end of the terms,
Well, okay, all right.
is
All right,
January
until the
7th,
next election, right,
2025.
which would be the time that person sitting in that seat would run again for their seat
Yes.
anyways.
And you could have two separate elections at the same time for that. Someone could run for that if they wanted to, yes, for 6 months.
Okay.
It's really clear, isn't it?
Kristen?
Yes.
As mud.
Clear as mud. It is. It's not bad.
So,
I
okay.
mean, understandable.
So, my recollection, and Krista, you correct me if I'm wrong, we had two different, because of the number of applicants, it was like two different council meetings where we interviewed everybody, and then it was whittled down, and then we voted. It wasn't like a back-to-back thing, right?
You know, Gail, you're asking a lot for me to go back that far with my memory.
It's only 10 years ago.
Well, I can say that the process has evolved over the years or changed.
Yeah.
And sometimes you did the back-to-back, sometimes you didn't, especially board and commission members.
I think it just depends on how many people
Well,
actually
that's what I was gonna
apply.
say.
Well-
We need to find out how many people apply.
Yes.
Well, another thing, Mr. Mayor, was, you may recall this, you may not, we split up the board and commissions. So you might have the first set of interviews in September, and then you might then have a break to have the next set of interviews, and then the selections would be over 2 nights. That happened for a number of years. So, because the council at that time said, oh, that's way too much to do in one night. And you know, that is a lot to do, but this council has done it, or the previous, well, actually, this council did it last year.
We'll power through it.
So
Depends on the applicant, how many applicants we get.
we don't know. And another thing, though, you might want to talk about the type of questions, too. Because I know there was some issues regarding some of the board and commission questions. And so you may want to talk about what type of questions should be asked. So that is, you don't have to talk about that tonight, but you can. But we definitely would want something, you know, Bryant, one thing I think we can do, or what you may want to consider, is give them the questions that the board and commission had for the next meeting, so that you see what has been asked. And maybe you want different questions. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's up to you. It is a policy question.
But Joe, even with that list of questions, we use that as a guideline, generally when we do the appointments, we have the ability to ask anything we like.
That's right.
Really.
Yes, you don't have to stick to the questions, but if you want people to, if you want it to be an interesting process where everybody has the same has the ability to answer the same question when it's in writing. And then if you want to say, well, I would like to follow up with that, Ms. or Mr. So-and-so, what do you mean by this?
Yeah. I just want to be clear, though, Vice Mayor, you're right, because there were critiques about that. You don't have to.
Yeah. Leave it to the attorney to complicate everything. No offense, Joe.
Actually, it's the legislature.
I'm teasing.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Brian, you're not asking for any direction tonight, but how soon are you going to start giving any direction to the city clerk to put up talent bank, or put out any notice or anything of this?
Well, we'll wait until, we have the modules in place. Remember this,
Right.
we'll be able to, and so we could work with Anna on getting that prepared for. We've already started that, but we won't probably in earnest really crank in until we get final direction on April 5th.
Okay.
This won't be hard.
No.
Okay, I've got one question in the aspects on it now. For someone that, needs to go out, and they need to go out and get, 705 signatures? If that person gets that enough signatures, then they can be on the ballot listed as for that position?
Well, I think, looking at the title of the, it says presentation on discussion for the process of filling Apache Junction City Council vacancies. I think that's more of an election issue, and I don't think we should really get into that tonight. But that's an election issue.
But I'm trying to reiterate that the aspect is that that's the only way that they can get on the ballot. Is that correct?
Well, I would say, once again, that's an election
Oh.
issue, and I think I don't want to influence the election in any manner. So I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to start talking about the statutes with regard to the election. For the vacancies, I could be
No,
here
I'm
until.
talking about the vacancy.
Well, if you're talking about the vacancy, there is a way to fill it. You all can fill it, or it can, well, actually, it would be filled by an election also, but I don't want to get into the math on the election. I think that's really for people who are actually involved in the election now, and I think it would be inappropriate to talk about that. And in fact, there's a packet that the city clerk gives out. All the information's in there, and they can read the statutes. So I think I really should be silent on that.
Well, Joel, is it correct? It would be, you wouldn't be able to get that line item on the ballot this late in the game anyways, would you?
Once again, I don't think I can really talk about that because that is an election issue and it's really not how you can fill the slot. So I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
And I don't think the city clerk wants to say a word either. She is the election official.
Secrets.
I am
So they
happy.
would have to call the city clerk to find out how to get on?
Well, actually, they would,
Or would they call you? and
well,
find out
they
how
can
to-
try to call me, but I will tell anybody who calls me. I talk to everybody, from the public. That's what you expect me to do as a city attorney. I've always done that. However, if someone is a candidate, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I cannot give you legal advice, and neither can she, and she will not. And she's been very good about
Yeah.
telling people,
Yeah.
hey, here's this 500-page document, or I don't even know how many pages it is. This is what you need, and I'm sorry, it's for free. You can have it. You
We
don't have to
all
read.
had to go through it,
Everybody has to go through it, and you find your way through
figure it out,
Yes.
Jennifer, could you articulate for everyone your role in this time period as an election official? How you represent the city in that role?
Okay, so during the election cycle, like Joel said, I do not give legal advice. I do not tell you which form you need to fill out. I do not tell you how to fill out. All of the instructions, all of the statutes are listed in that election manual. If you have questions, you need to seek your own outside legal counsel. I am the filing officer for the elections. If you turn in petitions, I will take them. Whether they meet the requirement or not, that is determined after I take them and provide the candidates receipts.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else have any other questions?
I have a lot of election questions.
Figure it out.
Go read that packet.
Well, no, I have nothing to do with that.
You already have a packet for your own, right?
Sure, it's easy.
Okay. So,
That's it.
no direction to staff. Do I have a motion on the next meeting dates? I was going to make a motion for a next meeting
You
date.
gotta find where it is.
Anybody got it? You're on?
No, I'm looking. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that an executive session at 6:00 PM for Monday, March 4th. Guess I'm on the wrong page, aren't I?
Here. Can you read this? Is that it? Right here.
How did I get the wrong? Where?
Right here, at the bottom.
Executive session at 6 PM for Monday, April 4th, and Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, in the City Council Conference Room located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard in Apache Junction, Arizona, and other meetings scheduled if necessary.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Councilmember Evans?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Rizzi?
Yes.
Councilmember Nesser?
Yes.
Councilmember Gremmel?
Yes.
Councilmember Schroeder?
Yes.
Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
Motion passes, Your Honor.
Okay. I'd like to remind everyone that the call of the public is a courtesy and is not required by law. It's a time for the public to express requests, communications, comments, and suggestions. Requests to speak form must have been completed and handed to the city clerk before the end of the city manager's report. All issues will be presented in a professional manner without personal attacks. Under the open meeting law, the council cannot engage in discussions on issues presented, but may respond to criticism and may direct staff to follow up with the speaker directly or place this matter on a future agenda for council discussion. There is a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. I've got 2. Donna Carr?
She passed.
Oh, okay, thank you. George Schroeder?
For those who paid attention, George Schroeder, 244 West Virginia Street. For those who paid attention, I stood up for the pledge. Our country is doing something we should do, fighting for the people of Ukraine. My history is in that part of the world. We're not doing enough, but we're doing something. With regards to the vacancy, I'm asking the question. I know you can't answer, but I'm asking the question. Are the criteria the same for someone like myself who would want to be voluntarily filling that vacancy, such as personal information, checking accounts, all that, really? I don't have them. I'm not giving them. No. It's my understanding that those criteria are not needed to fill this vacancy. I heard nothing about it. I'm volunteering. And you want to shut me up? Get me up there. Because that means I can't talk about this, that, and the other, right? That's what it means. So, you want me to shut up? Put me up there. Now, the code ordinance, I'm not going to say much, except I'm in the charges and court action at this point. I know the circumstances very well, Councilwoman Rizzi. I know them very well.
Your Honor, point of order.
Well, last council meeting, you did point out to me
Your Honor,
to
point
talk
of
to
order.
Joe.
No personal attacks.
It's not, she told me to talk to Joe. I did. So, I'm very well aware of it. I'm very good at it. Now, big gorilla in the room, this tax, county tax. For the foreseeable future, it is shot down. Our pie in the sky, our dreams for the next 20, 30 years, way on hold. It's possible, but you can't make dreams on something that the Supreme Court said no to. Okay, so let's put a hold on the pipe dreams. You can't build your way out of this. Our city managers know where the money's at. Let's go get it. Make them get it. They can do it. They know how to do it. They're just not telling you. I know where it's at. Thank you.
All right. Any council want to follow up on a request? All right, I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.